In the world of economics, there are two curious and extreme ideas about how demand reacts to price changes: the perfectly elastic demand curve and the perfectly inelastic demand curve. These two concepts help explain how different products or services behave in different market environments. Let me take you on a journey through these two fascinating scenarios. The tale of the perfectly elastic demand curve. Imagine a world where consumers are incredibly picky about price. They will only buy a product at a very specific price, and if that price changes by even the tiniest amount, they will stop buying it altogether. This is the world of the perfectly elastic demand curve. In this world, the demand curve is a perfectly horizontal line. At a particular price, consumers will buy as much of the good as is available, no matter how much that quantity is. But if the price rises even slightly, the demand vanishes completely. This situation, though rare, happens in highly competitive markets where all the goods are identical. For example, imagine there's a market where everyone is selling the exact same loaf of bread at 10 coins each. If one seller raises the price to 11 coins, every single customer will immediately flock to the other sellers who are still charging 10 coins. The demand curve for this loaf of bread would be perfectly elastic. In this world, the sensitivity to price changes is infinite. A small price increase leads to zero demand. This concept is mostly theoretical and doesn't happen often in everyday life. However, it's useful in describing markets where goods are perfect substitutes and competition is fierce. The tale of the perfectly inelastic demand curve. On the other side of the spectrum lies the perfectly inelastic demand curve. In this world, price changes have no effect on the quantity demanded. No matter how much the price goes up or down, consumers will still buy the exact same amount of the good. In this world, the demand curve is a perfectly vertical line. The quantity demanded remains constant no matter what happens to the price. Think about life-saving medicines like insulin for diabetics. No matter how much the price increases, whether it's doubled or tripled, people who need insulin will still buy the same amount. The demand for such goods is inelastic because they are essential and there are no substitutes. The price sensitivity here is zero. Even if the price increases significantly, consumers will continue to purchase the same quantity. This scenario, though rare, does occur with certain necessities like critical medical treatments, where people have no choice but to pay whatever price is asked. To make it easier to compare these two extremes, here's a quick summary. Though these two curves represent the most extreme situations, they help illustrate how demand can behave under different price conditions. In most real-world markets, products fall somewhere in between perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic. Some goods have a relatively elastic demand, where consumers are sensitive to price changes, while others have relatively inelastic demand, where price changes have little effect on how much is bought. Understanding these concepts is vital for businesses, policymakers, and economists alike. They help guide decisions on pricing, marketing, and regulations, ultimately ensuring that goods and services meet the needs of consumers while keeping the economy healthy.